What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I got to tell you my story about a drunk driver. So I went to a basketball game last night and it got out and I was headed home a little after 11 p.m. And keep in mind that this is a Wednesday night. It's not like a weekend or a Friday evening. And I was driving home on the highway and was following an Audi SUV. And actually what ended up happening was the SUV kind of hit the curb, went over onto the shoulder a couple of times. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought maybe, well, someone was looking at a map or fiddling with the radio or something like that. But then the car just kept drifting over to the left side, the driver's side, and actually hit the median, hit the wall, kind of leapt up. And so I think the front driver's side fender and wheel are probably going to be in some rough shape, show some evidence of that. And so I whipped out my camera, one, to record some footage here, but also to try to figure out what to do in order to get police on the phone. Now, as I was driving and I wasn't exactly sure where I was on the highway, my first thought was to call highway patrol. Now, it's really interesting because it's a little bit difficult sometimes, I think, to figure this out. Maybe you just call 911 on it. But I kept following the SUV because we were heading to the same place. And at a couple of points here, as you can see, I turned off my camera so you can see the jump cuts. And of course, he did something really egregious again, and so I flipped it out again. And a couple reasons I did that while I was trying to figure out who to call on the police side was, one, if there was evidence, two, if there was a big wreck or something like that to show who was at fault, and three, to try to see if I could get the license plate number, which actually ended up being kind of helpful because sometimes I can't read it. I've got to keep my eyes on the road, but maybe that gets captured on film. So I ended up following him to an exit, which actually happened to be the exit that I wanted. I could have gotten off at a couple places, but I wanted to keep following him, and got off in the town there, which then I knew what it was. So I called directly to the village police department and actually just spoke with the operator there, telling her what was going on, where the car was headed, what it was like. She actually did ask for the license plate number, so it was nice that I actually had that. And then I actually followed it to the point where it turned into its own subdivision. So I think he made it home. So I think the issue was the guy was drunk and just trying to desperately get home. And I gave her my contact information and all of that, and she asked if I'd be willing to file a complaint. And I said I would if that was necessary. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with it yet. But like I said, not only did it hit the curb on its own, but I was pretty pissed because it ran basically a couple cars off the road. So much so that I saw some cars just kind of pulling off to the shoulder and slowing down to almost a dead stop to let him go by because he was tailgating and then swerving and basically cutting off cars. And I was pretty livid about it because he was just creating a lot of chaos and putting people in danger. And then the last thing about it that really pisses me off is that in the day and age of ride sharing, behavior like this and putting a car on the road late at night and knowing that you are driving very, very poorly is really inexcusable. So, not a happy camper I was, but hopefully we did what we needed to do to see if we could get a little bit of justice for this guy. That's it. Peter Von Panda, out.